Welcome back to the channel. So I did promise a couple of weeks ago that we would do a dark skin tone, so let's get straight into it. I've picked another page from Green Portraits by Lena Green. The last portrait that I did in here was this one. So I'm not going to use the same pencils because there was quite a few things I've looked back on this page, and I think I probably would do it a bit different next time. I wasn't confident with the pencils that I used, which were the Chroma Floor. I'm not quite familiar with skin tones in that set, so that's why we had a few muddied colours around here. And I think more people have the Polychromos pencils. So for this tutorial, we're going to do this page, and I've picked out some polys to the sides of me. Now I may not use all these colours, they're just what I've picked out off the top of my head. I've not even looked in my swatch chart, so we'll see how we get on with this. So but I thought this would be a really nice picture for a darker skin tone, because look at her, she's beautiful. So let's just turn the page over so that we've got a better working space and bring you right down on this. So I'm not sure if I'll get it all done in one tutorial, because we've got the sort of neck and shoulders. I'll try, but if I can't, at least if I do the actual, you know, the full face, then you know how it's been done and the colours used, and hopefully then you can do the neck and shoulders, but we'll see how far we get. So I always start off with a really light layer. That's whether I'm doing a paler skin complexion or a darker skin complexion. I will always go in with this beige red. So that's what I'm going to go in. It just takes away all the white space. If I'm doing a paler complexion, I do leave out areas and leave the white of the paper. But with a darker complexion, I go over the whole with the beige red. So I think that's the only difference to my starting base, is that. So we'll just base well, but I'll base the neck and shoulders as well, just in case we do manage to get round to it. But I do like, especially with darker skin tones, I do like layering up slowly, because I find if you make a mistake with a darker skin tone, it's harder to cover it up because it sticks out like sore foam if you make a mistake. Whereas if you're doing a paler complexion, you can sort of get away with it. So yeah. So all over everywhere. It probably might not show up on camera. This layer is really light layer. I'm not going to go over the lips, leave the lips as they are. With darker skin tones, I do like to put on like a really rich sort of chocolatey burgundy lipstick. I think it looks really nice. And the same with the eyes as well, the eye makeup. I like to do like a smoky eye on a darker skin tone. I just think it looks stunning. So, but that will be a separate video probably, the eyes. Who knows? The eyes and the lips. So yeah, this is sort of the first. Let me see if my lamp will go any brighter. It will go a little bit brighter. This is sort of the first chance I've got to sit down now the kids have gone back to school. Whoop whoop. It's nice just to be back into a routine, because I think it's all nice at the start of summer feeling like you need a break and having a break, but 6 weeks is a long time, and by the end of it you do need that routine, because the kids are staying up late and then only waking up late in the morning and everything's thrown out of sync. Yeah, I like the routine of the mornings. Even if I do have to wake up at 6 AM, I do love it. So yeah, I'm trying to work out really quickly. Yeah, I'm off camera. I was trying to work out this bit here. This bit is still part of the arm, and that's part of a little boob. There we go. Right, so that's that layer done. That's that layer done. So next up, I'm going to go in with the shadows. So I like to go, some people like to go from your lightest shade to your next lightest shade and your next one, and build your way up to the darkest colour. I like to put my base layer down and then start by putting the shadows in with my darkest colour. So it is on personal preference which way you find to do it, but I do like getting those shadows in first. So I think the colour we're going to use for this is this teeny tiny pencil, and it is Burnt Sienna 283. So this is a grayscale illustration, so you will be able to see all the grayscaled areas. And what I would say with this is don't use a hard pressure, either build it up lightly or go in with a medium pressure to sort of, you know, find your dark spaces. I don't know if I'm in enough here. Let's just see that. So I do like starting with the darkest areas, so you can see the ear is very heavily grayscaled in there. So I'm just gonna, this isn't sharpened the best, let me sharpen it. It's got a bit of a weird angle on it. It was square on one end of the pencil. Yeah, so I'm gonna start off by going in with the ear, and you can even imitate this line that's going round and sort of draw it in first, and then sort of use small circular motions to buff that colour and blend it towards the centre. That's what I like to do anyway. There we go. Hopefully my big hand isn't going to get in the way. I'm trying to not get in the way of the camera. There's wood pigeons making that, well, the usual wood pigeon noise outside my window. They sound like owls. You can still see, can't you? It's the only thing I hate about zooming in, having to zoom in so far, is that, you know, it's really hard not to get your big hand in the way, and when you do, your hand looks massive. Massive hand. So that's where I'm going to be with the ear, with that colour. Perhaps just put a light layering of some of the areas where it's got a bit of grayscale. It's not got much, but you can see a little bit. Possibly down the bottom there. Underneath here in the shadows. And then under here, this piece of hair going across the face is putting a shadow underneath, so you can afford to go a bit darker there, or at least put a good amount of pigment down there, and then you can deepen it up as you go back to it under the jawline. Again, don't be shy around there, because that's, you know, very shadowed under there. You can afford to make it darker. I think skin is one of the things that takes me the longest, so that's why we're just going to get the main face done, I think, and then the shoulder and neck I can probably do in my own time, because I think, you know, it's going to be the same colours and the same way of doing things. I'm just going to stop here. I'm going to do the jawline, then I'm going to go up onto the face. We're not going to carry it down the bottom. I'm just going to blend this down. There a little bit. Let me get my duster brush just to brush off. I've made the mistake all too often of wafting my page with my nails, and then my nail varnish is scraped off on my colouring page, and let me tell you, that is an horrific thing to do. Because it doesn't come off if you do that. It doesn't come off. So I'm going to work by mapping the eye out here, because this is the next bit of grayscale, because the forehead doesn't look like it has got any grayscale there, but I will put a tiny bit around the edges of the face, but we'll start with the darkest areas. So I'm going to map that little line. You can see there's the crease of the eye is there, so I'm going to map that out just by putting that little line there, and also the crease across the eyelid as well. And we're just going to map that out with the lines. It will look atrocious at the moment, but we're going to use our small circular motions to then bring that out. Light layer, light pressure, small circular motions, and we're going to bring it out so that it's fading out into a very light pigment there. You can see. Now I'm going to sort of map, you can see where the eyelid at the top of the eyelid sort of has a little crease here, but I don't want it to be as dark as the creases down here. It's more of a faint little line, and then we're going to use small circular motions the same way. Now with eyes, I do like at some point towards the end, I do like to put a little bit of pink tones around the eyes, because I always think that naturally you have some pink around there. Or you could use my teeny tiny pencil, which is this one. This one's a really nice colour. That's light magenta, even though you can't see because it's teeny tiny, 119. That's nice to use around the eyes as well. Feels strange being back to filming, because normally, you know, usually I do film like 2 videos a week, and while the kids have been off, I've not really filmed. I think the last thing I filmed was finished pages. So if you've not checked that out already, that is up on the channel, finished pages for August. It's got some artwork at the end as well if you want to stay tuned and watch what Pantone cards and original art that I've done. I do like my paintings. I nearly came on today and did a painting, but I thought, no, my subscribers will kill me if I don't come on and do this dark skin tutorial. It's been promised, so here we go. Now I'm going to take this little line with a light pressure. I'm going to mimic this line going down here as well, because it would be a bit darker. But this is where we're going to get those pink tones in later as well. I'm very lightly, it's barely so you can see anything, but we are going to have a tiny little shadow under there. It's the eyelashes what are casting that little bit of a shadow there. She's got this gorgeous beauty spot as well. People used to draw them in, didn't they? The little beauty spots. I think I've got one, not there though. Where is my beauty spot? I don't know where it is now. I don't look at my face often enough. It's not under the eye, it's somewhere on my face, but beauty spots tend to change as well, don't they? I've started getting loads more spots on my face as well. Flipping aging spots, they need to do one. I look every now and again, and on my forearms as well, I look every now and again and I think, I'm sure that spot weren't there, I'm sure that one weren't there. Oh, someone's at my door. Ah, I'm out of breath, running up and down the stairs now. Yeah, my parcel was a net, of all things. You know when you've got a little paddling pool in the back garden, and they're running along the grass, the kids, and then they jump in the pool and all the grass gets in the pool or flies fly into the pool. It's one of those little nets, like a fishing net, where you can just like pick all the bits out. Because we put the pool up last night because we've had a couple of warm days. You know, now the kids have actually gone back to school, it's decided to give us a really hot day. So last night we put the pool up and put the cover over it, and I thought when the kids get home from school today, they'll be able to go straight in the back garden and just jump in it and cool off. And what has it done today? Rained. Oh gosh, it's rained. So I've got the pool in the back garden now. I've just got a fishing net thing for it as well. And I don't think they'll be getting in it after school somehow. It's roasting though. It's like, what degrees is it? Is it 25 degrees today? But it's really humid and hot. It's raining at the same time, so I've got another parcel being delivered as well. I hope that don't knock on while I'm filming as well. Got another parcel due, some leggings for my daughter for PE, because she has issues with clothes, and she had some new PE pants the other day and she was having a meltdown. I couldn't get her dressed. I was sat on the bedroom floor for an hour and a half while she was crying trying to get these clothes on her, and she pulled at the tag, you know, the label inside them, and she said, I want you to cut that out. So because I was a bit flustered because I was trying to get them out for school and, you know, it was taking so long, I've been a bit reckless cutting the label out. So I've accidentally cut a hole in the pants at the side of the label. Where I was cutting the label, I've cut the pants accidentally. So yeah, I've had to order some more. So this time when I cut the label off, I had to be extra careful. I'd say this is the most nerve-wracking part about doing dark skin tone for me, is putting the shadows in, because I'm always scared of, you know, putting it in the wrong place or going in too dark straight away. But, you know, it's all a learning curve. It's good to try and put yourself out that comfort zone sometimes, because if you really put yourself out your comfort zone and you achieve something that you really like at the end of it, then how proud are you of the page that you've done? Or at least I am anyway, when I do try something and I think, oh, it's a bit tricky or not sure about that, and then you just try it, then you're proud of yourself if something turns out nice. And if it doesn't turn out nice, you just say, oh well. Don't be ripping no pages out your books. That's what I used to do 3 years ago. I don't do it now. My attitude's changed completely. I do not care anymore. Well, I do care. Like, you're a bit wounded, but I don't rip it out my book or anything. I just put it down as, oh well, that didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. Never mind. We'll just leave it there and let everyone see that we do make mistakes, just like anybody makes mistakes. We're all just doing it for a hobby. None of us are perfect. We're just doing it for fun. So obviously, as all these layers get built up as well, that's when you'll do all your smoothing out. So don't worry too much. I mean, with these darker colours, you do have to be careful, because if you put in any really harsh lines, you know, it'll be hard to smooth them out at the end. But little tiny lines, don't worry too much, because they will smooth out if they're only slight. But some people like to colour with texture, and I can't do it well, but I've seen people who colour with texture by leaving the texture in. They don't blend, and it looks brilliant. But if I tried to do that, no, it won't be looking good, I can tell you. But yeah, I like to leave textures in my paintings. I think that's why I like to do the animals with the fur and the little lines for the hair strokes everywhere. I like the texture of it. Right, I'm going to get into these corners of the face. I'm going to put it in a bit darker around the edges, around the hairline, shall we say. You still see I'm not blocking you completely, am I here? Now the last darker skin tone I did like dark brown, or was it like a chocolatey hair colour? I think I might go in with a jet black hair colour on this one. I've not done a black hair colour in ages, and I like it because you can get a really nice shine on it, especially if you use some blue undertones. Looks really, really nice. I'm not as comfortable with doing blonde hair colours as I am dark ones, I don't think. I love these little curly bits that they pull to the front of the hair. I love those. Love them. I have a few sometimes when because my hair is naturally curly, but it's more like, it's a lot of frizz. It looks more damaged than curly. It's like a lot of frizz, but it's naturally curly. So when I straighten my hair, I'll still get these little bits around the front of my ear like this sticking out. They almost look like sideburns, then they start curling up. I'm like, I'm not getting away with this straight hair, am I? I'd leave mine natural. I did try the curly girl method a couple of years ago, but it wasn't, my curls weren't getting any better, because they sort of said if you continue with it, you know, your curls, you know, the damage that you've caused by straightening it and all the heat, etc., that will be reversed after so long, and your curls will get better and more defined and all this. And mine just never really did. I could never get rid of the frizz. The frizz was just always there. And then if I put too much product on, thinking, oh, if I put all this product on it'll get rid of the frizz, then it just looked greasy, and I was like, I can't find the balance. I can't get the right balance here. It is hard to upkeep curly hair, it really is. So it's easier for me now to just straighten it. I mean, obviously if it rains I'm done for, but generally it's a lot easier to just straighten my hair than try and get these curls to form nicely. Right, I'm almost done with this colour. Just gonna bring it to the centre, try and smooth it out a bit better. I don't like when the pencils get so small, because I feel like I lose control over the pencil a little bit. But I don't like pencil extenders either. I'm really fussy. So now I'm just gonna, see how this is quite a harsh edge, I'm gonna blend this towards the centre a bit better. So you always have an ugly stage as well. Push past the ugly stage, because it does pass. When you start, this is only our second colour. When we start getting all them other colours in, it's gonna start smoothing everything out. So obviously you can pull these lighter colours towards the centre. Thinking about where you're going to put your highlights. You don't want it too dark over the areas where you put your highlights. I like to have a little highlight under the eye where you would put your highlighter if you was doing your makeup. I like to leave that out. So I think we're good around there. So next up, I'm going to bring in some of the light magenta over the top of this burnt sienna, was it? Burnt sienna. So this is light magenta 119, very teeny tiny pencil again, and we're going to just add a bit of this colour in. Very light pressure. So I'm going to put a bit in all the darker spaces. And this will just give it, I think it gives it a bit of a glow, it gives it a bit of warmth. I think it does. Under the neck there. I'm going to pop a bit around the nose, because we know when we all like to do our makeup, some people put a touch of blush on the end of the nose now. I think that's the fashion, isn't it? To pink your nose up a little bit. It is, isn't it? Have you watched all the TikToks and everything else? So pinky up the end of the nose a little bit, and round the eyes. It's nice to have a bit of this around the eyes, underneath the eye, sort of following this line we made here, from here to underneath the eyelashes. I'm going to add this light magenta, and then I'm even going to put some pink over the top of that as well when I come to putting the pinks on. But just for now, we'll just go there with the light magenta, very light layer. And then you can build it up if you want to build it up, but you know, you're not putting too much on straight away. I'm going to pop a bit in the corners of the eyelids. Not in the way am I with my hand. Do apologise if I am. Let's just make small circular motions to blend that in. So all around the edges of the face, I'm going to pop a bit around the ear. Don't be scared to use other colours that aren't just peach and brown in your colouring pages. I like to sometimes use, I think it's called sanguine. That's a really nice colour to add to skin tones as well. Sanguine and terracotta, really nice colours. So all the other places where I want them to have that bit of an undertone of colour, but I don't want it to be too pink, I'm going to use a grey. So I'm going to add a bit of warm grey 272 to some of the areas. So like just on the nose here, very light layer again, you're not going to really see it. You're not going to really see it, just above the top lip. It's just going to be really subtle. Around the corner of the mouth maybe. And that little dip is. I am going to pop, even though we've put pink around the chin, I am going to pop a little bit right at the bottom to really accentuate that shadow. Can you see how much darker it just makes it? Oh, don't snap your pencil, Kirsty. You see how much more of a shadow it gives, so use it in your really darker areas. Not forgetting the ear, because I do like to forget my ears. And then I'm going to pop a bit around the eye, a bit above the eye there. Going to really deepen that up. I'm going to add a little bit to the jawline. Now I'm going to go in with some pink around that eye, underneath that eye. So I'm going to use Coral 131. And I'm really going to bring a pop of this underneath here. Don't be scared of bringing a pop of colour. We're going to have a flushing under here. A little bit more on the end of the nose. Right, round here, sort of coming from the side of the eye, down here we're going to put some blush. So first I'm going to continue with this colour as a light layer, but then we're going to use a different colour, so make sure you're not going in with too hard of pressure, and then we've got room. I think these Polychromos work a lot better on this paper than the Chromoflows did. I'm able to get these layers down with no bother, whereas when I used the Chromoflows it was a bit trickier to get this many layers. So I'm going to go in now with this middle purple pink 125 for the blush colour. This will be a really nice colour for this skin tone. So sort of light to medium pressure. We want it coming from the sort of temple area. That's where I would take my blush up to if I was doing my blush. Sort of temple area and here. So get a bit of that colour down there. And blend it out nicely. As you come more central to the face, ease off the pressure and just trying to smooth out those edges so that we're easing them into the colour underneath. If you want any of this colour into the eye, you can pop a bit of this colour into the eye, it's totally up to you. I'm going to have the cheek colour totally different so it stands out, so that it's on its own, that cheek colour. Next up I'm going to go in with Bistre 179. So I'm going to use this colour to sort of bring down some of that burnt sienna even further into the middle centre of the face. So we're going to start near the hairline and we're going to bring it more central to the face. This is a slightly different colour from the burnt sienna. as well as not looking as rich in colour, I would say it's slightly lighter in my opinion. Slightly lighter. I'm going to leave this little highlight here above the eye. The colour's going to come up into this shadowed area here, so I'm going to go over that. I'm just putting this colour very, very lightly into all the areas where we've not been now. So all this area, I'm going to try and fill this area up now, because we're getting to the layers where we're going to start smoothing everything out and bringing everything together. So we're just going to, with each colour we use now, we're going to get a bit closer to the centre of the face. And then to a certain point, even if you've sort of blended the colours together, to a certain point, sometimes even though you've burnished, you were able to get a little tiny bit of extra colour over the top if you think it doesn't look quite right. Sometimes you're able to have that little bit of leeway. Depends on the paper as well, to how much you can get on. So definitely under the jawline here, we're going to try and bring this colour up further and fill it out a bit more. So I'm going to leave a little highlight around the chin area, because I think sometimes there is a little bit of a highlight around there. I'll leave that tiny little bit there. Now this is the point where you do have to try and smooth your lines out at this point the best you can. Sometimes if you're using, you know, like solvent, like the some people, as a cheap option, some people use baby oil, but you can use like the blending solutions. The Zest, it's a good one. You can use those, they really will blend out your pencil. Sometimes if you're using the solvents, it doesn't quite matter as much getting it as smooth as possible, because they are really good at doing the job, those solvents. So, but you can see it slowly coming together, but like I say, it just takes time, because you don't want to go in full force with a darker skin tone, because you want to get the variety of tones and different colours in there, and you know, and you don't want to end up going into your highlights, because if you do a dark skin tone and you don't leave any highlights in, it can just look really flat, really dark and really just flat. And you know, dark skin isn't like that. It's beautiful, it has this glow about it, which I'm always trying to achieve, and I can never get the full glow on the skin that they just have. It's beautiful. I think that's why I try to put such a bold blush colour in. My belly is rumbling. Rumbly belly. Just put a little dot there, that'll smooth out though. That'll smooth out. So you can see I'm getting closer and closer. We're filling up this white space now. We're bringing in our colours. Getting very carefully around the highlighted areas. Let me just spin the page. This is what I meant earlier though, if you feel like you've put too much of a blush down, when you start going in with these other colours, you can dull it down. See, if I'm going over this blush now with this Bistre. Is it Bistre? Yep, and it's dulling it down and just putting it as like an under colour coming through. Can you see that? I'm being very, very careful around here now because I don't want to lose. I do want to keep quite a bright highlight here, so I don't want to, if we say sort of around here, so fill in this side here near the mouth and then keep that bit white for now. This pencil's getting a bit scratchy though, it's not the best when I'm trying to smooth everything out. You'll find that with some pencils, and it happens to you at the worst moments. You're like, please not now. I really needed a smooth blend right now. Oh, someone's car's beeping outside. Right, even though I want this highlight to be quite bright, we still need to blend it from the pink. So we're going to put this Bistre over the pink colour that we've put there. And then just underneath it, so it looks like it's not sticking out like so fun, but got that bit of a highlight there. There we go. Now I'm going to use a little bit of this raw umber 180, and again it's just another layer, and this one has more of a sort of yellow tone to it, so we're just adding all those nice colours into the skin. So this one's got like a yellowy undertone, which you could use for a glow. If you think about which, you know, where she is and where the light would be hitting, you could use this to put in a glow because it really enhances the skin colour and makes it look like there is a light hitting the face. So that would be a good area. Also around the temple here, maybe pop a bit around there as if the light's hitting the side of the face a little bit. Even pops a little bit coming into this highlight, because we've got a highlight for a reason, right? Because the light's hitting it, so we would have, you could have a bit of this yellow glow around the white highlights. That might be nice. Let's pop a little bit around this one. I do like winging it with skin. Like, none of this was planned. I didn't know. I pulled out some pencils. I've not used them all. Some I've not used. But I did pull out some pencils, but I never quite know which ones I'll use, which order I'll use them. I never quite know the details of what I'm doing. I just go with the flow. I think that's the best thing to do. You go with your gut. You go with what looks right. If you don't like it, you know not to do it again. It's fine. So there we go. I'm just wondering if I want any around the chin. Yeah, a little bit around the chin where I've left that white highlight there. Any on the ear? I do think we've got a little glow on the around the top of the ear where we might want a little touch of this. There we go. Of course I'll have to look back on this video as well so I know what to do the neck and shoulders, because I'll have forgot I'll have completely forgot what I've done. I am going to put a bit of this Venetian red 190 around the eye area. So sort of going over where we've been with the pinks, a little bit light layer, and on top of the eye mainly. On top of the eye I'm going to come in and see if that'll, see what colour that's like all around the eye. really deepen up these eyes. There, that's nice on the edge, isn't it? Nice on the edge as an edge colour there. Let's fill out all of that space in. Oh, I like that. I like that. Right, so now I'm going to smooth all this out, and I'm going to use this, where is it, cinnamon, where's cinnamon? I'm going to use cinnamon, just a little light layer, again, because we're just building up layers. I want to get rid of some of that white space without going in too dark with the browns. So if I pop a little bit of this colour in, not much, it's just like a light layer. Just filling in some more of the white space, particularly around the nose and mouth here, I think. I think I may go in with that burnt sienna again around the nose here, maybe a little bit. Where we've already got the blush, you can afford to go in with a darker pressure of the cinnamon, because it's already pinky in that area. But everywhere else, just use a light layer. It's coming together, it's coming together. Hopefully the video's not too long. I can't see how long I've been filming for, because I've done it in 2 halves now, because I went running to the door, so I don't know how long I was on before this. It's 34 minutes rolling on this second half of the video at the minute for me. Right, I'm going to go back in with that burnt sienna, just to make more of a shadow around the nose, I think. I'm going to go back under the chin, under the lips, sorry, as well. Go back in under there a little bit. If you feel bits aren't dark enough, just don't be scared to go back in. Like I say, light layers are the key, and if you want to darken anything up, it's easier to darken up than try and take things away. So I think we'll have it a bit darker around the hairline. That was definitely the right choice there to deepen that up, I think. lines can still be softened, so where you're going in with these darker bits now, you can go back in with the Bistre once you've done this. I'm going to bring a little bit of darkness just underneath the blush and just underneath the cheekbone, and that's just going to give, like, you know when you contour your makeup and you bring that line under there, that's just going to give an illusion of a really solid cheekbone. And now I'm going to go back in with the Bistre. And we're going to try and get all this merged together now and bring it all together. So a sort of medium pressure, I would say. I'm going to try and get everything smoothed out now. Sometimes you can get these little sort of indentations in the grain of the paper where you can't always get in with a pencil, and I think that's the hardest, one of the hardest things about doing a dark skin tone, because if you're doing a pale complexion then they don't show up, but when you're doing a dark one they really do show up. So you have to really get into the tooth of the paper. That's why it is good to use some sort of blending tool, which I might get out in a minute. My trusty Caran d'Ache full blender might be coming out in a minute. Let's just dust off that. You can see this closing in and getting smoother and smoother though, can't you? Hopefully you can. I could definitely see it. I can see it, shall I say. Now, anything where you go outside the lines with, I can get that off with my electric eraser at the end. I'm not too fussed. I might go, oh, she's going over the lines. This girl isn't bothered. This girl isn't too fussed. We're blending this Bistre into that line that we created there. I'm pulling it up above a little bit as well. There we go. Let's get that blender pencil out, if I can find it, because Kirsty likes to misplace these Caran d'Ache blenders, let me tell you. Let me just give it a little sharpen. So I'm going to go into the areas which I've got the highlight first, just so we don't lose the highlight, because sometimes if you start off in a darker area with these blender pencils, you can pull it through into the highlight, and you don't always want to do that. So I'm going to start off in those lighter areas first, and just make sure that they don't end up going very dark. And you do want them going into the blend, like blending in, but not disappearing. Right, now I'm going in with a light pressure on this blender pencil because I'm hit and miss with these blenders. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. And that's the reason I don't. Sometimes that's a bit of wax that's got stuck to the eyelid. I'm just going to go back over it with a Bistre a little bit. I might go into that area there just because I don't want it being botched up. I'll go into that area with a white pencil, I think, rather than this blender. So let's do this area next. And the chin. And then we can blend everywhere else. These blender pencils really push the colour down into the tooth of the paper. They really do work well. Not forgetting the top of the ear. There we go, just wipe it off. Yeah, I'm not keen on these anymore. What they do, they do work well, but I think with skin, they do tend to put this sort of, a bit of almost like a blotchy appearance to it. I don't think I'll use that for skin as well. I'm just gonna see what happens if I sweep over with a cinnamon. Just over there. Yeah, I don't like that full blender for skin. I knew there was a reason I didn't use it for skin. Why didn't I trust my gut then? There's a reason I didn't use it for skin. It makes it look a bit blotchy. we go. Let me get that white pencil to just blend the eye. Or I might get an ivory. Get white or ivory. Let's just get a white one. Clean it off to make sure there's no dirt on it, because if you've got a pencil that's got a bit of green on like mine at the end there, and then you use it on something, you're going to get green on there. So make sure that your white pencils are always clean. Just scratch them off on a scrap piece of paper. Otherwise you'll be crying. There we go. And that is where I want to be with it, but I'm going to get some black, not black, quite a dark grey pencil. 1 second. This is Cold Grey 235, and I'm going to use this just on the lash line. I don't want to go in with a black because I don't want it to be too sharp. Given the way that the lashes are illustrated on here, I don't want it to be too stark. Then you can always deepen up that line again, that lash, that crease. And then you can even add, like I say, I like doing a smoky eye, so this is a nice colour to just add a bit of smokiness if you wanted to add a little bit to the corners of the eye. I'll add a bit there and a bit at the edge where that lash line comes up there. Let's just dust that away. I'm going to do the lips as well. So I'm going to do the lips with Bistre. We may as well go with colours that we've used. So I'm going to go with Bistre as a light layer all over. And then I'm going to go in with the burnt sienna where it would be darker, to the edges of the lips where you can see the grayscale. We'll have a bit of a gloss on these lips as well. It's going to have a bit of a highlight. There we go. So I'm going to blend this with the white now. And then add a little bit of that Bistre around the edges where you put the highlight. I'm going to accentuate the highlight anyway with the gel pen, because, you know, I'm going to use as well this Cold Grey 235. I'm going to use it to sort of, oh no, don't you just hate it when the pencil breaks and puts a mark on your page? Horrible. But just to accentuate the nostril, because the nostril's very dark. Might have to get that line off, or should I leave it because it's very minimal? We'll leave it. I'm going to get a white gel pen now. I'm going to bring you up. Going to get a white gel pen and just pop some glossiness onto her lips and some little highlights here and there. So I'm going to put quite a big one at the top. Very sparkly on the bottom. I love doing that. I love it. I'm sorry if you think it's overkill. I like it. And then you can just pick out little areas for highlights elsewhere as well. I like to put, with gel pen, I like to put little lines around the corners of the face sometimes, just to brighten it up a little bit. I think my postman's just delivered something again. And then on the eye, I'm thinking of doing something on the eye, like maybe to make it sparkly, as though she's got like metallic in the middle or something. Or maybe I could just make it sparkly with the white gel pen maybe. So give her a glitter feel. You know where you'd make clothing glittery by doing all these different size white dots? That's what I'm going to do. So some bigger than others, some closer together, some teeny tiny. Just so she looks like she's got a glittery eye thing on. If you know what I mean. Just for some added bling, because Kirsty has to go all extra. I have to go all extra, and a little bit of a white highlight on the nose, I think. Now, sometimes if you don't want it this bright, because I like that, but if you don't want it that bright, get your finger and just dab. Just dab. Either that, or put your highlight in, and then buff around the edges with sort of one of the browns you've used. So about that much. So that's the page so far. So what I'm going to have to do in my own time is complete the neck and shoulders, and hopefully I won't have forgot what colours I've used, what order I've used. I might have to look back at this video. But yeah, that's the sort of approach I take to doing the dark skin tone, is very light layers and very carefully built up. And then if like I did, where I didn't feel it was quite dark enough around the edges, you can always go back in and deepen that up. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's good to be back. Please hit that thumbs up and comment down below, and I'll see you soon. Bye everyone.